Hello, 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 everyone. Woo! Oh, wait, you're not here to see me. No, sorry, Bob. So my name's Stephanie Strickland. I work for KGW TV, and I'm your resident nerd and your resident geek and your resident sci-fi buff and your resident grim fanatic. Portland's very own. So I am now going to bring to the stage the men of the hour. I would like to bring out Silas Weir, Mitchell, and Reggie Lee. Come on out. Woo, 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 woo. Isn't this great? I like how he parks it. I'm going to sit here.
I know, right? Oh,
Right?
okay.
It's not
Okay.
a status thing. It's not a status
feel like
thing.
I
It's
should
just a
sleep.
comfort thing.
There you
This.
go.
We do it like this.
Speaking of comfort,
Might as well make yourself at home. Go ahead and queue up, you guys, at these two microphones. If you've got questions you want to ask, and I ask that you make them one-part questions. I don't want to hear, well, I got a six-part, really long, drawn-out question. And by the third question, they're like, what did he ask?
What?
I don't really know. So we're going to do a one-part question each. And I saw how fast you jumped up, so guess what? You get to start, sir. Take it away.
I have a question for you,
very.
Mitchell. Do you like clocks or does it drive you nuts?
Where are you?
I like how
a
you
great
call me
question.
by my last name. It's like you're my coach. Hey, Mitchell. Get in the game. No, I love clocks. In fact, I didn't really know much about clocks. So one of the fun things about being an actor is that you get to learn about what your character knows about. So I've been studying orology a little bit. And I think, oh boy, see the coffee and the things I could tell you about clocks, boy. But suffice it to say, without clocks, we wouldn't know how to navigate.
That's a very good answer. Go ahead.
All right, of the cast, who's the biggest joker on the set?
David.
Yeah, it's very true.
And
Gentoli.
he does icky jokes.
He's
like,
Prank City.
yeah, and he does things like we were shooting a scene out in the woods, of course. And it was late. We had to get the shot. We were going to do this big thing in one take, so he didn't have to cut it up. And part of it was Rosalie opening the door to a trailer in a field. It was the one about the glowing people, the Gluenfolk, And so we got to get this thing. We got like 2 takes to do it before we got to call it for the night. And she goes up and she opens it and she's like does this and she does, and I look at her. I'm like, what happened? David put like lotion on the. He put like lotion on the handle of the trailer. And that's the kind of thing that David does.
Ew.
Yeah, ew is right.
Ew. All right, go ahead.
Question for both of you. What was the best part, or what is your best part in Grimm so far?
Like you mean the best episode or scene or help? I'm curious.
The best episode.
Okay. Well, your episode,
listen,
yours, where we learned your
I
name.
mean,
Can I
think
answer for
I
you?
was distraught for like 8 episodes in a row. So, but I have to say that as an actor, being distraught is pretty like a kid in a candy store. So finding out, finally, for me, was like the best part so far. That and getting to punch another cop in the face. And saying he's no Aswang was my favorite.
I like the carpet eating too. I have to say that was.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
here's a
Wait,
story about
you
the
gotta
carpet
tell
eating.
this because I know this.
So the carpet eating. Here's the carpet was cotton candy. The chapstick with the inside of it was like gummy bear material. And the outside of it was chocolate, and the coins were chocolate. The paperclip was a paperclip. But anyway, so the carpet. So they're like, okay, so we're gonna intersperse. It was a shag white carpet, right? So we're gonna intersperse like this cotton candy in there. I was like, well, I can't tell like what's cotton candy and what's not. So I'm just gonna go for it. So I went for it, and then there's this entire scene that happens after where I'm like convulsing on the couch, if you remember. The next day, I had rug burn in my cheek.
Oh, you poor thing.
Because I was like, okay, that was the real
They really
stuff.
put you through the ringer a couple of times.
No, yeah, David Greenwald said, Yeah, we're gonna get you. We're gonna get you this season, and they got me.
That was good. And it was really artfully done, too, because I remember watching it going, how did they do that? Is that CGI? I'm like, how did they? No,
It's carpet,
It's
Steph.
carpet,
It's carpet.
and cotton candy, things you'd never put together. What about for you, Silas, your episodes?
You know, I've had so much fun doing this show, and I can't believe we're 5 episodes away
Yeah.
from our 100th episode, which is just. I mean, honestly, it's. Who knew? But I think the wedding probably on some level was my most favorite thing.
You romantic, you.
No. Not only because of the storyline thing and that it was, but just that was, of all the days that I've worked on the show, that was the day when, at the beginning of the day, it was probably, I think it was a Friday, we started at around 11 or noon, and I remember walking in, and Norberto was directing. Norberto is incredible, gets everything done. The guy
He's like
ma-
our main director.
He's the guy
for
who
the show.
directs maybe 4 or 5 a year. He also lives up here and produces the show. He's what's called a producing director, and he's incredible. He's done a ton of TV. He knows what he's doing. His episodes always have a lot of really good energy underneath them. And I remember looking at him at the beginning of the day we shot the whole wedding thing with trouble coming back with the stuff and like 5 people morphing, and every person who morphs has to have a stunt double and a photo double, which are different. So there was a lot going on, and
So it was like a real wedding.
yeah. It was one of those days where and I looked at him, I said, how are we going to do that? I don't know how we're going to do this. And watching him put all that together and making the day happen was one of the great sort of moments of like, just watching someone accomplish something that someday you hope to do maybe, and just, it was a massive day. And the storyline, but really it was more the technical aspect of watching a master do something incredibly difficult, climb the mountain, so.
Please, someone ask what their least favorite episodes are, because I know there's stories there. I think we're on this side next, right? Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Betsy. I run PDX Grimlandia. Nice to
Hi,
meet
Betsy.
Hey!
Hi, guys. So I asked the fan base questions, and the question that one was, ask them what the first thing they do when they get a new script. Skip ahead or thumb through to their part. That's a great question.
Oh, boy.
Oh boy.
Well, I'm going to be honest. Here's what I do.
Let's be honest.
I'm going to
Let's
be honest.
honest.
I read the whole thing. I do. I don't read it as thoroughly as I used to. In the early days, I really read the whole script to know, because I was orienting myself into the world. I didn't know what the world was. So for the first couple of years, I really needed to know everything. Now, I sort of skim the script and then look at what my storyline is. I then eventually go back and read the whole thing, but the initial thing is a little bit blah, 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 my line.
It is, yeah, no.
A little bit.
It is. You tend to,
Gotta be honest
no,
with you.
before, well, we'll tell you a story about that later, but Silas and I were actually we were in the same acting class in LA when we both got this show.
We were in a scene,
Doing in the scene together.
in an acting class
Yes.
in LA when we both got
Okay,
this job.
so before that, but now, right, we would read the scripts. I mean, we were kind of taught, to kind of go with the story. Now it's like one location, that's one day. 2 locations.
How many
that's
night
2 days.
exteriors?
3 locations. That's 3 days. So you could go to like your part and go, okay, that's like 1 day in the precinct.
exactly.
That's another day in the forest. That's like, so you find out like how many days you're gonna work.
You're learning how to produce
and
by
then you
osmosis.
go back, and then you read the whole thing, and then have fun with it.
Great.
So
Thank you.
Wonderful question. Let's take it over here.
Hey, Reggie, I wanted to know, what do you think is a better legacy? Adding depth and dimension to more of a background cop character, or having a donut named after you at Pip's Donuts?
Oh!
Yay, Pips!
That's a good question. Okay, well, I'm gonna be honest, because we're here to be honest, right? But having a donut named after your character is like winning an Oscar.
Especially in Portland.
Especially in Portland.
Especially when you're playing a cop.
Especially when you're playing a cop. Because I don't eat them constantly at all. But I will tell you that they were just, Pips is, if you guys haven't,
Pips is amazing, and I'm
They-
I'm a donut snob.
I'm a donut snob. Oh my God, we gotta get together. Okay. Anyway, so they were just featured in a New York Times article of it says it's 36 hours in Portland, and one of the 30
I read
things to
that.
do is to go to Pips and have their award-winning donuts. So, answer donut. Thank you.
Nice.
So I want to know what the most surprising thing about filming in Portland is.
Now I have to go back in time because things that are once surprising
Or no.
The naked bike ride.
become quotidian after
Well,
5
what
years.
used to be surprising was, when we would film in the forest for the first time, all like the green moss. I mean, seriously, you're there, it's raining, it feels real to you. Now when we see exterior night forest,
We
we're
kind of
like,
sigh
oh.
deeply.
You're gonna be cold and wet the whole night.
But I think that's actually a good one. One of the most surprising things was seeing moss growing out of a tree and then seeing a fern growing out of the moss. And then seeing more moss on the fern. And it was kind of like, oh, the circle of life up here. So that was surprising.
I think from just sort of a cultural standpoint, I imagine if you guys were in acting class in LA, there must have been a tiny bit of culture shock if you can remember back when you first got up here. And we got, like I was saying, the naked bike rides, the sort of unusual, all right, the things that make us awesome.
No, it's-
But
yeah.
you must have come up here and been like,
Yeah.
the hell?
Yeah, I was having lunch at not Shaw's, that's in Chicago, at Jake's, and a woman came up to me, she was wearing a bunny suit.
and it was Tuesday.
Just wearing a bunny suit. There was no deal, there was no parade. It was just her day to wear a bunny suit. And it was her private little bunny parade, and she came up to me and was like, hey, I love the show. And I was like, wow, awesome, you're wearing a bunny suit. And she's like, yep. So, keep Portland weird, man.
Yeah.
Love
It has really kind of influenced our character. I mean, as your character, it's like, okay, we can just go full force, like weird, because we're in that city and we love it, and we love you guys. I can't tell you how much we lucked out with this city, and we've all been saying it from the get-go, and now we know what it's like to live in a wonderful, normal city.
Which side am I on here? There you go.
I just want to say how much I really enjoy both your characters on Grimm. But Silas, I want to tell you, I really enjoyed you in 3 Days of Rain.
Yes.
You were amazing in that.
Very, very kind. Thank you. Thanks for coming to the show. That was a hell of a ride. I don't know why I did it. But it was amazing. I've never done 8 shows a week before, so that was something. I lost a lot of weight.
How do you find? I mean, how do you find the energy to continue to do that sort of a run?
It was hard. It really was, because I'm not used to it. So I had to eat properly, and I didn't know how to do it. So I found myself eating like high impact foods and eating like every 3 hours just to get me through the next 3 hours. I mean, there were times when I was on stage and I would do something and then I would go, oh shit, I didn't eat enough, I'm not gonna make it. So then I would go backstage and I would always have like a nut bar or something really kind of hearty but easy to ingest quickly backstage, because it was hard. The nutritional. Have you ever done 8 shows a week? You must have. You totally have.
Aside from that, I mean, we initially have like a 3-month hiatus, and they shortened our hiatus. So when these guys found out, they were like, "Oh God."
Yeah, you guys had like 2
We
days
have
on either
no-
end, right, or
and
something
then-
crazy.
Basically.
Yeah, and then they sent us a text like a week before we were gonna start, saying we have to push another week. And I can't tell you, like Silas and Sasha responded to that text so
It
fast.
was like
they were like, "Thank God."
It was manna from the heavens. It really did say I would have been scrambled eggs if I had to wait 2 days off. We closed the show on Sunday and we were scheduled to start Grimm again on Wednesday, and I was going to be in the first scene, and I was like cross-eyed at the proposition, and then they pushed it 8 days, so I got to chill.
He got a massage and a pedicure. Go on.
I Wish.
Hi, this question's for Reggie. Not to be offensive, but
Wait.
Oh, please
wait.
Having said that,
being
that's
a TV
always
news anchor, being a TV news anchor, every time says, "Hey, no offense, but I'm about to be offended." So,
I know, it's like,
many of the regular characters have these awesome homes. I mean, you go in, it's just an incredible craftsman. The captain's got this great townhouse. Now, Reggie is a sergeant, so he's not doing minimum wage. Why do you have sad boyfriend for your decor? I just, is it something? Because you've been doing more on the show, so I'm just like, doesn't the dude deserve an upgrade in lifestyle?
we should bring her on board to redecorate.
wait, though, have you seen my apartment?
Um,
Once, right? Ever.
It's full
And
of
there's a
cotton
big
candy.
hole in the
No.
carpet. That's all we know.
it's just, it's sad.
Can you, okay, I'm going to call the producers. Can you get on the line with them and just tell them that for a second?
That's
Outstanding. We're going to get you an upgrade. That's our
Noted.
mission.
Noted.
I'm just saying, Reggie is smart. You're smart. You're cool. You come out with these wisecracks. The decor does not match the dude. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's right. Stand up
That was
for
a
your
show
woo.
unto itself.
Go ahead.
Okay, so one of our favorite parts from the very beginning was all the weird, names of the vests, and I guess we're not allowed two parts, so I'll go with how long does it take you to master the way, because you just used one on stage about 10 minutes ago, and you just rolled off your tongue, Silas. But either of you, how long does it, well, because you're the one that they always come to, and you guys say, oh, you're dealing with
Rosalie has taken up that mantle
Oh, very
lately also. So
Yeah.
we do have, it's a tag team situation. But
I mean, do you need to have someone tell you it's pronounced this way, or does you just look at it and go, I'm going to go with it this way?
that's a good question, because some of the words are really there's real German, there's real Tagalog,
Yeah, it is,
right?
it is
Wasn't-
very accurate.
Aswang
Yeah,
is a-
Aswang is
a real
Tagalog, yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes it's what we call Grimish, which tends to be a kind of
Other language?
mashup. But usually it's sort of like a co-opting of German words that put together in a different way. And we do have a dialect coach, which I tend not to use at first until I run into trouble, because I really do enjoy. I love language. I love sounds. And I love trying to figure out what the thing is. And by this point, I don't know German in any way except to say that I know what these two letters together make that sound. I don't know what anything means, but I can tell you the A
You
with
totally could have fooled me.
the A with an umlaut is an A sound, and an A without an umlaut is an ah sound, and an EU is oi. But I don't know what anything means, but I know what I can phonetically. So I kind of enjoy that. It's like a puzzle.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I'm going to preface this with when, not if. When Rosalie and Monto have kids, which Weston do you want them to take after?
All I say to that question when I hear it is Vorherrscher, which is one of those words that I was just talking about. No idea what that means, but there's a scene when we talk about the birds in the Bienenwesten, and we're in the spice shop, and somehow they're talking about a family that is parents are two different Wesen, and the kid is, I think it's the Genio Inocuo one, where his father is a low. Saying Lowen is a bummer because it really should be Leuven, but you can't do that in network TV. You can't have a creature named Leuven. I mean, you could, but it wouldn't be scary. So the kid is a combo of these two very different things, and he's got a conflict. And we talk about what happens when two different Wesen have kids, because that's kind of the root of the story.
That's a full-on spin-off
Yeah.
right there.
And so what we do is we say, we explain it where if one parent is this, if both parents are the same, it's gonna be that. If one parent is and one parent isn't, there's a blah, blah, blah. But if both parents are different Wesen, then you have a Vorherrscher, which I don't know what that means. So that's why, the producers, the writers, they throw this stuff in there. They say, just say it. And so you say it, and then the next line is, I don't care what he is as long as he's healthy. So, we'll see. Who knows? There's also a lot of babies on set, so I don't know if we need another baby right yet.
Go ahead.
So my question is for Silas. I've been watching you since my name is Earl.
Well, wow.
Do you enjoy breaking out of that typecast of being clinically insane? Because I admit, I've been waiting for you to go crazy for all of these seasons.
Well, when I morph, it's kind of a form of madness, It's like rage or, you know what I mean? But I've really enjoyed living in a different psyche than the person who's just a cracker, you know what I mean? One also has to, as an actor, acknowledge one's physiognomy. You know what I mean? Like, I'm
It's
tall.
one of those words.
I have big eye. You know what I mean? Like, you got to acknowledge that you look a certain way, and we live in a world where you look at a person and, like it or not, you have So I understand why I've played people who are X, Y, or Z kind of level of off the rails. Do you know? One of the things I said when I was younger was, like, in a Sam Shepard world, I'm the lead. In the regular world, I'm like the Sam Shepard guy. Do you know what I mean? So I'm happy to be playing someone who's not like a bad, messed up cuckoo pants. On the other hand, I kind of understand why, I understand why I get those parts. But it is nice to live in a different place, for sure.
Well, I think you are a perfect Monroe.
You're
so
very sweet. Thank you.
Absolutely.
When you were younger and you started realizing that you had that gift, would you ever like put on ragey face just to get a goal accomplished?
Yes.
I would too, so cool. Go ahead.
Or to get out of a sticky wicket.
Just look like
Just
you're
like,
crazier
oh.
than...
We're like, all right, easy.
My question is for Stylus. I know you talked about you had a morph double and a photo double, but I was just wondering about the process when you Volga, like what you're just like.
Well
sitting there.
pronounced.
Well
there.
pronounced. Very
Thank
well
you.
said.
Keep going.
I'm German.
At this point, it's interesting because at this point it's all CGI for me. There's not enough time for me to put the stuff on and take the stuff off. But my stunt double, who does a lot of the fighting for me when I'm morphed, he comes in, gets the stuff on, and lives with that for 12 hours because his job that day is to be my double while I'm fighting. I also have a photo double, as do most of us, who can do things like if I have to unmorphed, like jump off something really high or do some crazy thing, then I have a guy doing that who's a photo double, i.e. he's a stuntman who actually looks crazily enough like me. Like we all have stunt doubles who sometimes we double take. Like, oh, there's David. Oh no, that's not David. That's his stunt double. So that's that process, and then different creatures morph in a different way, I think. Like we had one on now, that Bob Clendenin is playing, who's like I guess they wrote slug-like, but it really is. Yeah. I'm not going to
tell. Like a convulsion.
I'm not going to tell you what it looks like. It's amazing.
It's pretty
and
awesome.
He did his thing to fit what the creature is, you know what I mean? Which I think is where it's at. We had a snake creature who had a kind of snaky morph.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of what it's about.
But I did see in a scene, finally, Silas and I get to do scenes together, but in a scene,
now that we all
for the
know
longest
what's going
time, it
on.
was like, oh, hi. He morphed, and it was seriously incredibly real. The way he morphs is very, very real. So it's almost, to me, it was incredibly real. Whereas, Rosalie is like, she just kind of does like a little
she's got
thing,
kind of,
and
she
then
has
I'm
sort
like,
of a sexy
did you
morph.
morph?
Did you morph?
Okay, but his was incredibly, incredibly real.
Do people ask you often then to do it just like now? Because
Totally. I mean, people are like, I was at the gym the other day, and a guy was like, I was like looking for a set of weights or whatever, and the guy was like, no, go ahead, just don't freak out on me. I was like, ha, all right.
never heard that one before. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Nathan. Big fan of the show.
Hey, Nathan.
Hi. My question is for the both of you. What's your favorite place to be in Portland?
Home.
Given your work schedule, that makes sense.
Yeah, you know, home is actually a good one because the schedule this year has been bonkers. But you know, my dog just learned to swim, which is so fun. And we were trying to get him to swim and trying to get him to swim. So in some ways, for me, the most fun place to be right now is on a beach on the coast with my dog just freaking out with glee. So that's a fun place. It's not Portland technically.
I have to say that Portland has probably the best food anywhere at all. And when my first season, I think my cholesterol went up, but that's okay. But I went back to LA, and my friends were like, because I was like, there is nothing to eat here. There's nothing to eat here. And they were like, you are a food snob.
Yes.
And so right now, so many restaurants, but my favorite right now is Ava Jean's. So,
I need to go there. I've not been. That's fantastic. Yeah.
So
okay.
good.
All right.
It's
I will
rich,
sit there
rich,
all
rich.
day long and be fed.
You're talking about wise calories. I'll like not eat for 2 days before I go there. You're saying it's super rich. Okay. What about you? Where do you like to go? Because we're gonna show up and stalk you guys.
Food-wise, I think lately, you know, there's a stretch of 28th around Burnside near the Laurelhurst Theater that has a lot of good places. There's a great drinks place called Angel Face that just make they're so cool there. They don't even use they don't use jiggers. They just like, oh, you want they don't even have a drinks menu. They just have booze on the thing, and then you say, can you make a Flibberty Gibbet? They're like, oh yeah, sure. And they don't like measure it out. They're like, yeah, we got that. And then down the street, there's a northern Thai place called Padi that is just amazing. It's like really, really good. It's not as Pok Pok like blows your mind with the flavor. Like you can go there like once every 6 weeks because like you can still taste it 3 days later. But Padi is like more delicate. It's really good. So those are two places that I'm hot on right now.
How spicy is your food?
I can eat habaneros.
Okay. What about you? Spicy?
No.
No. I should tell you, we were giving him a hard time because he uses a lot of sugar in his coffee. So it doesn't surprise me that spice isn't his scene. I love that. So just out of curiosity, you guys mentioned drinks. Are you beer guys, wine guys, cocktail guys?
Everything
None
has
of them,
everything.
tea, coffee?
Everything has its place.
Yes.
Honestly, like you know, some food like German food, beer food. You know what I mean? For me,
He's a connoisseur of.
and I enjoy a
drinks.
cocktail, but I like to. I don't. If I'm having oysters, I won't drink bourbon. You know, I'll have like a martini
Yeah.
with an oyster. You know, everything. I'm into the like mixing and matching of things. You know what I mean?
We bring all that here.
Yeah, no, especially really good wine too. Pinot Noirs are unbelievable.
See?
I
Love
mean,
it.
There's a real terroir, man. There's a real thing going on up here with that, as if anybody doesn't know that already. But I was surprised at the array of different types of Pinots up here.
Yeah.
It's what I think, and I'm speaking for all of you guys too, it's been fun to watch and rediscover your own Portland through their eyes, right? Like when you hear them talk about the things they're enthusiastic about and you're like, me too. And like, of course we are, because Portland rocks, but it's so fun to hear how great you guys have been and how much you've adopted the city to the point now where they're like, stop saying we're just visiting. Like we consider this our home, right?
That's
like,
what Sasha said. Sasha was like, the next person to say, how do you like Portland? It's like, I live here, okay? I love
Yeah.
Like,
But it is like I will tell you that I'll go home back to LA, you know, for a couple days if I have a couple days off or whatnot. It always feels like I'm coming back, and it always feels like a vacation. I always feel like I'm going to a vacation spot because of the beautiful surroundings and the people and the food.
I just get depressed flying into. I have the opposite where I get depressed flying into LA, looking at the brown.
At the brown ground.
The brown air, the brown
air,
buildings.
brown ground.
The brown trees, everything's dead.
And supposedly now in LA, it's like people like look at you like really weird if you have a green lawn. They're like, you have a green lawn? What are you watering that with?
you better spray paint it. You better spray paint
Whereas
that right
here,
there.
it's like literally, you guys, they will, for a scene, they will wet. We have what's called a water truck, and they will wet down the entire street and the cars and everything to shoot a scene because it looks better. In LA, that would like be such a great thing for my lawn right now.
You just bring your grass
Like,
right
wait.
out there. I like it. Let's. I'm sorry. Which side? I want to make sure I ping pong back and forth, and I get so caught up in these answers. There you go.
So for me, the best part of working downtown is when I come to work and my street is closed because you're filming. It makes parking suck, but it's a great, great day. What's been your favorite location to shoot in town?
Ooh.
In town or just in the
town.
whole show? Okay, in town. Because I just keep thinking of the woods at night. It's like I have PTSD.
Right. No, there is.
It's like, oh, woods, night. Oh, no, it's okay. I'm in a room with other people.
Yeah, there is a place we're filming now where we finished at, 2, 3 a.m. this morning. It's a paper mill in Oregon City. It's literally, we call it stage 4 because we film there so much. We have 3 other stages, but this massive complex is so creepy and so old that there are so many sides to it that we could go to and it could be completely different.
It's a death trap.
Yeah,
but
it is. And it's fantastic.
But it's a great looking space, but someone is going to break an ankle.
Yeah, out by the falls, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good location. I know there's ones I'm not thinking of, though.
No, I'm sure there are many.
One of these days, I got to figure out who I can talk to so I can just come hang out in the background and see that all unfold. Because I could break an ankle. I could do that with the best of them. Go ahead, you over there.
Okay. I was going to ask Silas. I heard her talk about Earl earlier, and it made me think, how was it filming wearing a snake?
Oh, yeah, my snake pants.
Yeah. Was it, I mean, did the
It
snake
was, look, it was an
cooperate?
adventure. This job is an adventure. Every day brings new forms of humiliation. And that was really one of them. I mean, come on. When do you get to wear a boa constrictor for underwear, a live boa constrictor, and do Tai Chi with no clothes on? I mean, when does that happen in a man's life? That's why I love this job. Beer cans strewn along the lawn, doing Tai Chi, wearing a boa constrictor. I love
Wow,
it.
you really do get those characters, don't
Madness. My first job ever, I had to dance in my underpants and be tackled by a policeman jumping through a window. So that's, it got off to a certain type of start. And it's kind of held true in certain ways.
First of all, thank you so much. I love Grimm. And second of all, what is that one word and or line that you could just not get?
There is none. It happens like every day. You're like,
You're like-
wait, hold
you're
on.
like,
Let me just get another one of those.
Yeah. There's so many.
There was one word that was hard, which now I've gotten, but was hard at the beginning, was unbezahlbar, which was when the goose thing popped out of her throat. It was like the goose that laid a golden egg and the woman was being force-fed by her husband. It was gruesome. That was a hard word. I definitely remember some reeling. You have to do a lot of reeling off of stuff.
No,
as
I have
do
a lot
I.
of crime scenes, and so I think sometimes I'm just like reeling off and suddenly I go into another crime scene. I'm like, oh wait, no, that's not this crime scene. Let me go back to the other crime scene that I'm describing from today.
Oops, wrong crime.
Wrong crime.
I've had issues with Uncle Olaf from Austria in 1876, and he built a clock out of, his own feces and turned it into, like there have definitely been speeches about my family in the past, and you get dates mixed in with objects mixed in with, those can be hard. You have to spend a lot of time on those, otherwise you're just like mouthing words, and sometimes you don't have the time, and you get there at work and you're like, shit, I didn't have the time. So those can be hard.
What you said crime scenes. What is the blood made of? Since it's cotton candy and chocolate, I'm curious.
The blood. Now the
It's made of
blood.
blood.
Okay, when I died in previous shows, it was real, like syrupy kind of blood. It was like red, wet blood. Now, you guys, it's this like plastic concoction that they just lay on the floor, and then you like take it off like a whole piece.
Really?
And then
Yeah.
you lay it back down, and it looks like real blood.
Yeah. Sometimes, I mean, sometimes they use the wet stuff if it's like a body that's like dripping with
Yeah.
things. But if it's like a pool of blood on the floor, it's like this.
It's like a polyurethane.
Yeah, right.
Plastic thing.
Yeah.
You guys need to Gintoli that. You need to do something funny with that. You could get him good.
Good idea.
So I'm telling you. Go ahead, question over here.
Okay, first of all, weird hearing my voice coming out of the speakers. First of all, Monroe is my favorite thing about Grimm, and the "You are no Aswang" line was totally badass, best woo moment. And since no one else has asked it, what was your least favorite episode?
Thank you. Mwah.
Think of two. The first one was the one that they had to completely rewrite the ending because the creature that emerged was so ridiculous.
Wait, no, I remember that. We filmed an entire stunt sequence
all night
long.
I
and
wasn't
then they
there.
used not
And then
one
they
piece of it.
Cut it because the creature was like, it was the one where the man and the woman were the same person. It was like the interesting idea in theory, but maybe you need to spend like another year on the script to get it right because TV happens so fast. You can't believe I don't know if this means anything to you guys, but we shot 11 and a half pages in 12 and a half hours the other day.
Which is very, very, very rare.
That's
I mean,
that's an
you're usually like
astonishing-
5 or 6 pages a day.
Yeah, it was
So-
unbelievable. And you can only do that with a director who's like a wizard. And this guy is a wizard who did this. But it happens so fast that sometimes you're going to get scripts that are they're half baked. And so they shot this entire ending that was like 3.5 pages. People were up till 5 in the morning, and then they cut the whole thing and turned it into something else where the guy comes to the precinct and explains what happened so that was not a good one. And then there was one other one. The fish girls, the fish girl family.
Oh, the mermaids.
The mermaids, yeah, the
family.
Yeah, that one to me, I don't
Yeah.
usually watch them. For some reason, I watch that
We
one.
tend to not
I
watch.
watch like one every 12 if I'm like, what did that director do? I've got to see that. But
Yeah.
generally, I don't like to watch them. But this one I watched for some reason, and it just was really slow and boring.
I will say though that the most gratifying episodes to do, for instance, finding out, are the most taxing, emotionally and physically. So those are, in a sense, kind of like, oh God, when is this gonna be over? It's so hard. But then in the moment you go, but then after it's like you're so freaking tired. I mean, really tired. And they had me like, they strung me along for 8 episodes. So it was 8 episodes of being tired.
How many takes does it take? How many takes does it take for you guys to nail a scene like that? Because I'm trying to think, like, you're full of
Steph,
emotion.
one.
Of course, for you. I'm a one-take wonder. I do live
Boom.
TV, baby. I
Just
get
so-
this.
just kidding.
But do you know
One
what I'm
and
saying?
done.
Like, how do you keep going when you've got 8 episodes to string along this sort of emotional development and try to be present and real and, to use that overtired phrase, authentic?
Yeah, well, you
I'm all for
prepare.
authenticity.
Yeah.
You're just in it. You're in it.
You're in
You-
it.
You go with what the writing. You can't
Yeah.
look at the writing and go, oh, they're stringing me along.
But
you just have to be there.
from Silas and I, from our school of thought and where we've studied, it is the preparation that gets you there. So the moment is the moment, but the preparation is what is going to get you as deep as you need to go.
And the more hours you can spend preparing, the more fun you have on the day. That's what I was saying about those Uncle Olaf and the clocks and the dates. If you have hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours to make Uncle Olaf real, to make the clock real, to do all that, then you show up and it's like, you got it.
Yeah.
And it's fun, man. You're on a
It
roller
is
coaster and
a
you're
lot
like
of fun.
rocking out.
But sometimes you have to choose between like, do I spend some time on that, or do I get another hour of my
Sleep.
3 hours of sleep
right.
that I need?
Or do I have food?
So it is tough when you're doing a 22 episode season show.
That makes sense. Over here?
Hi, my name is John. I'm a big fan of the show.
Hey, John.
I want to first start by saying that I really love you guys and your characters that you portray. I strongly feel that you really bring the show together, and please applaud if you agree.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Very sweet.
What I want to ask is, so you don't live here, but you must have been doing a lot of things. Is there something here in Portland that you haven't done yet or haven't been to yet?
I was thinking about getting on a balloon the other day.
Really?
That'd be fun.
I don't
Super
know.
fun. Tiger.
I know they got, yeah, right, Tiger. There's like 3 or 4 companies.
Big balloon festivals
Yeah.
out there and stuff. Yeah.
No idea.
I went to wine country. I'd like to do that again. That's not your question, though. Ribbon Ridge. That's the good stuff for me, for my tastes.
I'm making a mental note. Now I want to try it. What about for you?
Man, I mean, Oregon itself fascinates me, like the entirety of Oregon. I'd love to go down to Ashland and go to the Shakespeare Festival. I haven't done that yet. I've spent a little time there, but I've loved what I've spent there. But I've been to the coast. I've been to Bend. I love Bend. So
I'd like to get on a motorboat and go up and down the Willamette, just like check out the city from the water. That's something I'd like to do.
We did that actually, and Sasha was like, "Oh, I know how to drive a boat," and it.
Heaven help me.
I'm glad you
that
made
was
it
a
back.
good day.
Was he wearing like? Thank you. Was he wearing like light blue?
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
He dresses
impeccably.
Dresses to the nines.
I see
Like
him.
you ladies needed to hear that.
No, I know. I see him sometimes when I'm at like Whole Foods, and I do that stupid fangirl thing because I was a Caprica fan. So I see him, and I'm just like, and he thank God recognizes me because I'm the idiot drooling on the floor, and he's like, "Hey, Steph," and then I'm like, "Okay, I gotta go," and I just like scoot off to the side. Anyway, I just thought I'd let you guys know. All right, let's go over here. And by the way, you guys, 5-minute warning just to let you know because we do have to clear the room for the next panel. So go ahead.
All right, hi. My question is for Reggie. I really think that representation is really important in fantasy and sci-fi. And I'm so happy. Like, my friend called me and she was like, "Oh my God, the Aswang my grandmother used to tell me about that. Why did they do that to me?" But my question is, so was the character written as an Asian American? Or when you got the job, did you say, "Hey, here's some really scary stuff from my childhood, and maybe you should add it"? And
So the history is that I had actually auditioned for the part of Hank. And it was down to Russell and another guy that shall remain nameless, and myself. And we were actually walking out of the parking lot, and I said, if I don't get it, I hope you get it. It's what we say to everybody, right?
Sometimes you really mean it, though.
But I did mean that. So eventually, in like 10 minutes later, my agent called and said, "You didn't get the part of Hank, but they'd like to write a part for you in the show." And so, yeah, sure.
This is how David Greenwald puts it. We didn't have a part for him, but he was so damn good that we wanted to get him in the show. So literally, he just like kicked ass, and they were like, "We got to get this guy before somebody else does."
They had asked the casting director of NBC, the head casting director of NBC, whose name is Grace Wu, if we could possibly add another character, and she said, "Only if you name him after me." Hence Sergeant Wu, who never had a name for the first name for the longest time. But later on, they had asked if there were any Filipino fairy tales, and I said, "There are so many. We believe in so many weird things on that island, on those 7,000 islands, that I could give you a laundry list," and I did, and they ended up choosing it and kind of bringing my character out that way. But I agree with you in terms of representation. It's starting to happen more often, and it's not only now.
Because we're out here.
You can't just you can't. It's not okay anymore to just have a character to fill a quota. You have to have the character move the story forward. There has to be a life, an emotional life to move that forward. So we're getting there. Thank you for the question. Awesome.
Hi,
Hi, I'm Haley. I actually live in Ashland if you ever want a tour
Yay!
guide. I also got to tell you, my mom loves you. If I don't tell you that, she'll kill me. But I read the Grimm fairy tales growing up. That was my childhood stories. So I was just wondering, what are your favorites, either ones that you've done in the show or ones that you haven't done yet?
And the old ones are brutal.
They're
They're-
terrifying.
they really-
are not good for children.
No.
Do not read them to your kids.
Correct.
I didn't really grow up with Grimm fairy tales, but I had this book that called Shock-Headed Peter or Slovenly Peter. Anybody heard of this?
Uh-oh.
Yes.
It's like cautionary tales, and they're really grisly. For example, I've told this story before, so forgive me if you guys have heard this or seen this on YouTube of me telling this story. But anyway, it's a book of stories about what not to do as a child. One of and they all end terribly for the kids. But one of them is this. Her name is Little Suck-a-Thumb. And this is a little girl who won't stop sucking her thumb, and her parents say, they keep trying to get her to stop sucking her thumb. She won't stop. And finally they say, okay, if you don't stop sucking your thumb, there's a man in a top hat and tails who's gonna come in and he's gonna cut your thumbs off if you don't stop. And she's like, okay, I'll stop already. So the parents go out to dinner, or they go out for a walk, or they go out to, I don't know, pick flowers. And the little girl's like, da, 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 da. She starts sucking her thumb. And in through the window leaps a guy with a morning jacket and spats and a top hat and shears and cuts off the little girl's thumbs. And the final image of the story is a little girl in a little A-line dress holding her thumbless hands up with blood dripping down her forearms, and she's crying. And this is what I grew up on. So believe me, I never sucked my thumb.
You guys, that is our last question. Can you scoot over so I can take a picture with you guys before we're gonna all
get in the middle.
Okay.
Are we going selfie style?
Yes, let's go selfie style. Pile in. Can you get in? You see yourselves there? You guys, give it up for the men of the hour.
Thank you so much.
You guys have been awesome.
What a crowd.
We love you.